Welcome everybody, Radu Andrusak here, and in today's customer interview joining me is Elena Badea, the founder of Valoria Business Solutions. Elena has an amazing story to share with you. She joined the Client Flow workshop in 2020 and since then managed to start and grow a new profitable online revenue stream for her business. Specifically, it's the online coaching program called Experience Clarity. But I will let Elena tell us more about it. Hi, Elena, how are you?
Hi, Radu. I'm very happy to be here. We have an amazing story to tell to everybody who is now joining this conversation. I'm very glad to share with you about our experience and what we have achieved together. So basically, I have a business called Valoria. We do training, consulting, and executive coaching. I have known Radu, everybody, for many years in another experience, and we have kept in touch. So at last year, when we were touching bases together as usual, I mentioned about this new idea of a new revenue stream for our business, for my business, and now the conditions with the pandemic and everything were quite different. So he was very, very kind to listen to my idea, and then we embarked together on a very nice journey. And now, let me tell you that almost 1 year after the beginning of this new revenue stream for my business, the things are looking up and everything is very, very promising. We have results, we have a track record, we have happy clients, and most importantly, we have a lot of potential to tap into ahead of us.
Yes, cool. Thanks, Elena, for this small introduction. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? What is your experience? What is your expertise? And what are you doing day by day?
Sure. So I am an engineer. I've graduated from the Polytechnical Institute in Bucharest, Romania. Actually, my main career was in international trading, but the mind of an engineer is always useful, and it has been useful for me since then, because I am very straightforward and I work well with numbers. And in international trading, that helps a lot. So I have acquired basically a lot of negotiations and selling skills as part of that career, and a lot of international traveling. Mm-hmm. Mostly to the Far East Asia. And afterwards, I switched gears and joined an international Big Four consulting firm. I was in charge with the business development department and for 10 years, and then for another 7 years in charge with the marketing and communication department. So basically, I have 3 main areas of expertise: international trading, business development, and marketing and communication. Afterwards, I started my own company, and we have a team of 7. We consult companies in areas such as marketing, selling, human resources, digital transformation, and we also do training and executive coaching. At this moment, I'm very, very interested in 2 main areas of my expertise. Sales coaching, and I coach individuals and teams, and also internal transformation coaching. And that's the part where, together with Radu, we put together this wonderful program called Experience Clarity. I did my part and put together the concept and the content, and then Radu did his part, and he put in place a structure, online structure for deployment and selling.
cool. That's very interesting.
Mm.
So you said that you had the idea of for experience clarity when pandemics hit, and
Mhm.
what was the context back then? Can you describe a little bit on that?
Yes, obviously it was not an easy moment. It was very difficult to see that day by day some of our training programs were discarded by the clients, naturally so, because they were uh, looking at the costs and benefits and the revenue streams. So training sort of became redundant overnight. And training is not the major part of our turnover, but it's the second largest, so that was quite a hit. We did well with the consulting part, and we also did quite well with the coaching, executive coaching part. But still, almost 35% of our business was washed away by the new context of the pandemic. So what was clear for me as managing director of Valoria at that moment in time was that we need to balance a little bit more the B2B part of the business with the B2C part of the business. It was mainly B2B, meaning that 90% of our revenues was in the B2B side. Uh, and the pandemic was obviously a very difficult context, but also filled with opportunities. I have to recognize in the first months of the pandemic, I was quite, let's say, shocked by the evolution of the business environment and the evolution of the social environment in
I'm sure
general.
everyone
That's all.
was
Everybody was,
like that.
yeah. Uh, Afterwards, I had to take a moment. I have to take many moments to ponder and look at the new context. And my decision after discussing with the team here was that we have to put in place a B2C revenue line, revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the background and the context in which I started to put together Experience Clarity as an internal transformation coaching program.
Yep. Yeah, that's. I'm sure, as I said, everyone felt that, and coming it from you, it's like showing again that how people reacted and how people saw this
Yes, and
change.
what was sorry to interrupt, but what was really crisis moment for us became a wonderful opportunity.
Indeed, I'm sure. So then we started working on your idea,
Mhm.
and if you remember, can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with a niche? Who is your target, and who did you want to help more precisely?
Well, that was mainly your doing, and it was because of you as a credential. I have to give this credit to you because the major impact in the positive sense and structuring the approach, it was, I mean, came from you. What I remember that when I looked at you with your questions, the first. Email in the first email you sent me many questions and just thinking on how to answer those questions actually did uh, a wonderful transformation in my head because the idea was there but it had really no structure. So when I looked at your questions about what do you think is the main problem of your client, what is what your client has done so far and didn't work and now maybe your program is the solution, what does your client says about this kind of programs in general, what would you like your client to say when looking at your program, at your value proposition. So this is something that really made a lot of difference in the and structured the concept.
Mhm.
And also you had a great contribution in all the stages, finding a name for the program. Also, you came up with a method that structured that part and that approach too, in structuring the stages of the project, the deployment, and everything was because of you leading the process and being not just a consultant, but also someone who knows the way and leads the way.
Thanks, Elena, for this. But let's go ahead and say so who are you helping right now? Because you've gone through all this process. Who is your target client? Who is your niche, and how do you help them?
Well, it's a nice confirmation that together with you we did our homeworks really well, because I have the confirmation now that the avatar is solid, is robust. The client that we serve is an experienced professional or an experienced business leader in top management of the company, and or even leading the company or leading the family business. So in short, someone who has nearly 10 years of experience or 10 plus years of experience, knows it, understands it, I mean the business, has a track record for his or her life, for his or her business, uh, can say that it is a successful person, but still something is missing. And what is missing is fulfillment. So the success is there, the track record is there, but this fulfillment is missing. And we know many people living in this way, their professional, personal life. And because this Experience Clarity is an internal transformation program, I talk to the client, and we reach together the conclusion that success and fulfillment are possible in the same time.
Yeah,
But there is needed this internal transformation that Experience Clarity brings in the 10 weeks of coaching.
yeah. So you could also tell how does your program work? Briefly, just touch on it. You said it's 10 weeks.
It's a 10-week program. We have 10 very specific topics to discuss with the client. The sessions are 1.5 hours long. We meet only once a week. In between sessions, there are some small homeworks and reflection homeworks to be done. The session in itself has 3 parts. The first part is the teaching part, where I explain the concepts, and we then, in the second part, discuss how that concept is relevant for the specific situation of the client. So we have the awareness part of the session. How is this relevant for me? How has this played out in my life? How has this affected me? And then we have the third part of the program, the third part of the session, where we work on the problem, and we transform, we transcend and transform. And the way we work on it may imply a combination of techniques, but mostly I am as a professional, I use neuro-linguistic programming techniques for helping my clients. So that's the major school and techniques that I use in the third part of the session. So we have 3 parts. 30 minutes teaching in order for the client to understand the concepts and then to reflect on that. And in the second part, we do a coaching conversation about how has that affected his or her life. And then we do the transformation with neurolinguistic programming techniques in the third part.
That's very cool. You went through it very briefly, but it's so clear.
Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of lead generation, would you describe the flow which people go through to work with you?
We have decided together based on your input and your valuable contribution, because that's where you came into your role as a workflow consultant. So the structure is something that is like this. We have the website that you have helped us to put in place, the experienceclarity.ro. In that website, in a very clean and crisp way, we explain the major points of the program and the benefits, and then the people who are interested can join a strategy session, free strategy session, after filling out a questionnaire where they describe who are they, where are they in their life at this moment, what's the problem, what is it that they're looking after, because they can mention whether they want to accelerate their potential or they want to work on a specific problem. So I received the fill out forms, and then I have this information beforehand. Obviously, the automation of the workflow makes it so that we have in the calendar booked that session, and then I get to meet with the person via Zoom. We discuss and I can prepare myself because I have those answers in the questionnaires beforehand. And mainly the conversation is about that person's problem and objective, transformation objective. And I have it has been very helpful to have from you a structure for the conversation and some pointers, and it works well. I mean, let me just say that in the beginning I did a little bit of a freestyle in these strategy sessions in terms of the structure and the approach. That's not a good idea. Listen to what Radu listen to what Radu has to say.
It's not based on what I invented. It's just things
the
that
knowledge,
are,
the specific knowledge that you have. Yes. So that was very interesting for me because I'm usually the consultant. Now I have to recognize in a very direct way the value of the consultant, and whenever I use and I use the script, it works well. So we go through the strategy session. We have a clear call to action at the end. The client gets to say yes or no to the value proposition of this internal transformation program, and then we book the first session and we go ahead with the program, with the delivery of the program.
Yeah, that because you mentioned the strategy sessions calls. If you would like to tell us about that moment when we had to turn off, we just launched and we had to turn off the leads generation.
Yes.
I mean the Facebook ads, because your calendar was fully booked for 2 weeks in advance. And how did that feel? How did you handle all those calls? Because I know they came onto your calendar.
Yes. So, firstly, it was absolutely amazing to see how fast the people booked the sessions in just 1.5, 2 days of lead generation campaign. I mean, that was really amazing, amazing. So everything was fully booked in just hours, guys. I was like, what? And we had a lot of slots, 1 hour slots.
Yeah, I remember you also had on Saturday, and then we switched it off.
Yes, so I even opened up my calendar for Saturday because that's a good day to have strategy calls for the people who are very busy during the weekdays. And it was like, I cannot believe it. I had all of a sudden so many people booked in the strategy calls. And as I mentioned before, we have to, as Radu mentioned before, we have to stop the campaign because there was not a good idea to have people book strategy calls in the calendar down the road and
3 weeks in advance.
2 weeks in advance. That's not something that we wanted to do. And then during the strategy course, I understood how many people really have this situation where they have a lot of good things going on for them in the professional and personal lives, but still something there is missing, and still something there is not allowing them to feel fulfilled, although successful but not fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone felt that at some point in their lives.
But the coaches out there and the trainers out there and the consultants out there, I urge you to trust Radu and live this experience of seeing your calendar, your agenda filling up with strategy calls in just 2 days. I mean, everything was fully booked.
Yeah, well, that's also because it was your contribution in the campaign we did, and a very good copy you came up with. That
I just want to say something. It's a teamwork, guys. It's a teamwork.
Yeah, definitely.
I trust Radu, and that makes all the difference. He knows me, and that is also very important. And based on the trust, that is the basic starting point, or the most important element in business. We work together well as a team, and I listen, and I'm there to support the process because it's a teamwork.
Thanks, Elena. It's a good point you made, because everyone at some point has to invest in themselves. So myself also, I had some coaches, I had some consultants in my other business. So everything that comes with the mind shift, mindset changes, makes the difference.
Sure.
Okay, so let's go next and talk about how long did it take to get the first few clients?
Well, not so long. I have to admit that once you go through the process and you follow the process, it turns out new clients quite fast. On the other hand, I had my own transformation through the process. Let me just mention that everything was quite new for me, doing videos for
the internet.
For the internet. And the entire journey was quite transformational for me too, and I learned a lot. So it was mostly about me becoming that consultant who allows herself, in my case, to do this kind of an approach and just follow the steps. So afterwards, once this internal transformation is accepted, embraced, clients turned out quite fast.
Cool.
Specifically in 1 week.
Yes,
Specifically in
yes.
1 week.
1 week. Yeah, I know when you told me I have my first client. You were super happy, and yeah, it was just a week
Exactly.
since we launched. Of course, we had to put some work in the back end, but after launch it went quite fast. And let's talk about pricing. How was the pricing at the beginning, and how much do you charge now? I've heard that you increased your price already.
Yeah. So one thing that I also value very much in the work that we do together, rather, is that you always push the boundaries. And just to mention, my initial idea was to put a price tag of 1,500 euros for the 10 weeks. So there is 15 hours of coaching and teaching and internal transformation work, as mentioned before. And from the very beginning, you asked me, "Are you sure about it? Is that you really want to do? How did you think? How did you come up with this price tag, and so on?" So that is something very, very useful, because it makes you think. It makes you think. It makes you look at what other people do in order to understand whether that price tag you have in mind is in the market, is outside the market, and so on. So in after a little bit of consideration, I reached the conclusion that 2,000 euros for the 10-week transformation program is the initial price. And the clients that we got in 1 week, they paid and accepted this price, which for me was like, what? Is this even possible? But
Yeah.
it was possible. It was really
So
possible.
just to mention, it's people from Romania who joined your program.
It's people from Romania, where the average salary is around 1,100 average per economy.
Mhm.
Okay, something like this. So imagine, okay, being able to have the confirmation that there are clients who are really willing, interested, and do pay this kind of price tag. And then after the first two clients, I immediately reached the conclusion that I can definitely increase the price. So in this moment, after another 1, 2, 3 clients with 2,000, I already I will only sell, and I'm selling at 2,500, and even this price seems for me now quite low, and I will increase the price, and in the future, like
Yep.
the next
I
clients.
remember you told me that clients told you that the value you bring is
Exactly.
much more valuable
Yes.
to
Yes.
them than.
So I have this kind of feedback, and guys, let me just say, it's the feedback from the clients in the way the program supports them, transforms themselves, their lives, that has made me consider the new price tag for 3,000. And even so, maybe for Romania still, but when I will open up the program for international clients, like from Germany or from France or from I don't know, the UK, or from Denmark,
From US maybe.
from the US, maybe, yes, why not? Obviously, because these are economies with a different because
So,
these are economies with a different salary, average salary per person. The price tag will be accordingly.
okay. Cool. Now that we've talked about numbers a little bit, you said that you went through a kind of transformation, and if you'd like to say what other areas of your life or work has our work touched or influenced in
Mhm.
any way?
Mhm. Sure. So, first of all, I have a completely different understanding of the potential of a digitized revenue stream. This was something that I learned through our cooperation and through us making Experience Clarity becoming an online sold product. The delivery is one-to-one, but we have plans to also have a delivery that is let's say deployed
Productivized.
now. Exactly. So that will be another stage of our cooperation. But first of all, I have a very new and useful understanding of how we can do business through online channels and digitized workflows. The second benefit and transformation is that I got exposed to new requirements like do this video, prepare this workshop. Everything was a challenge, and okay, it took a little bit of time for me to reach that
Adapt.
level, that exactly, and adapt. But I am a new person now. I have a podcast due to the things that I experienced in this process with Radu, and I am very open to video recording and video interaction. So everything went on to the next level. And the other thing is I see new opportunities for me and my clients, for my business and my clients' businesses, because I do, as I mentioned, sales consultant, marketing consultant, and I definitely see new opportunities based on this experience. And I have also the major benefit that my business has a new revenue stream, and it becomes a really significant one. A really
Yeah,
significant one.
that's good. That's always good to hear when
That's
people
always good to get, because
make
the
things work.
capacity, yes, the capacity is to have in this delivery model uh, 30 to 40 clients a year per one consultant, and I have 8. So imagine the potential.
Yeah. So uh, there are plenty of things that you mentioned. Which one would be or was of most impact for you that
The
allowed you to achieve what you have achieved with Experience Clarity?
I had to adapt to your requirements. There was no other way but to adapt to your requirements, and that pushed me to the next level. That was
Okay.
the most important.
I see. So I know you were telling me at that point that, oh, I have to do this, and then it took you like a week or two, and then you came up, but you did everything, and you
Yeah.
allowed yourself to follow the directions.
So frankly speaking, in order for me to deliver what you needed technically and
Hmm.
from
As
the
part
content
of the
point of view,
funnel. Yeah.
yeah, as part of the funnel, I had to become a new me.
Yes. Yes. It's
Thank you.
and so what would be your advice to people who are thinking about starting their own online program, or if they have one and want to get it to the next level? What would your advice be, like, in terms of most important thing that they have to do?
Don't waste time. act now, trust Radu as a consultant. I can only say that because I only know you. So it's only fair to say that. So don't waste time, act now, trust your consultant, push yourself and deliver on his requirements. And he's a a very good consultant. He understands the process, he delivers on the promise, and you will have wonderful results. The sky's the limit. Just
Thank you, Elena. So if people identify with the problem that you solve for them, which you said that you bring them fulfillment when they have success but don't feel fulfilled, and if they want to reach you, what is the best way to find Elena Badea and speak with her?
Well, thank you for mentioning that. The best way to reach out is just to connect with me via Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or via my email address. But basically, you can find me on all these major social media platform. Elena Badea on LinkedIn, Elena Badea on Facebook, Elena Badea on Instagram, or the company. My company is called Valoria.
Valoria.ro or experienceclarity.ro if you want to go specifically directly to the target.
Yes. Experienceclarity.ro.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Elena, for jumping in and sharing your story. I'm looking forward to speaking again with you when you expand your program to other countries.
Sure.
And thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Radu. We'll talk again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.